compassionate logic.
New ideas and efficient tools for a happier, more connected life.
Our minds create our reaction, not what happens to us. And the good news and the bad news is, the good news is we can do something about it. The bad news is we can no longer blame other people or life for our reaction.
For me, that's not only helpful for myself to deal with reactions. Now I know if someone says, "You're making me angry,"
That's not true.
that's not true, because I'm not capable of making them angry. I'm capable of providing stimulus that they might respond to in a way that comes out as anger, but it's not actually me that's making them angry or sad or upset or depressed or whatever negative thing that they're attributing to me. It's not actually me causing it. That doesn't mean I can just go through my life willy-nilly and go, well, everyone's problems is their problems, I'm totally not responsible. But it does mean if someone projects onto me, "You're making me X right now," I can go, is it true that I'm actually doing that? Or what is it that I'm doing that's creating a stimulus without being responsible and having that guilt of making them angry? I've found it's harder for others to manipulate me and harder for me to fall into negative patterns and beliefs and blame myself for things that I might have had a hand in, but they're not solely my responsibility. I cannot make Troy sad. I could do things that make it more likely that he's sad, but his sadness is up to him. And if I can remember that, then it is a huge relief when dealing with people when they're having negative emotions, especially in confrontations. If someone is yelling in my face, it is much easier to be calm when I know that that is their anger, not something that I am creating. And I can take responsibility and say, how am I contributing? And I can help them get to the bottom of it. But I don't have that defensive feeling or guilty feeling of, I am doing this to you.
And because it doesn't activate the core, the negative core beliefs are triggered in other people. But we're not the ones who triggered. We're not the ones who are believing that about the other person. They're the ones believing it. Or if I'm the one who's upset, I'm the one who's believing, quite simply, I'm believing something about myself that's not true. And if I can inhabit the part of me that is the truth, that is lovable, is forgivable, is enough, and it matters, what I choose to call my essential self, then the physical feelings that show up in my body are open, relaxed, full breath. I like that.
An image that I found really helpful that came to me years and years ago when Troy and I were doing some work is you can imagine our bodies have all these gaping wounds. And some of them are deep and some of them are shallow and some of them are layered on top of each other. But for me, I'm a failure is this really deep wound that goes all the way to the core of me. And something like, that person doesn't like me, that's a little shallow nick, depending on who the person is. Someone on the internet doesn't like me, that is a little graze. Those wounds are tender. And so if someone pokes you in such a way that that gets triggered, then I go, you're poking me in the wound. But I don't say that. I go, you're hurting me. That thing you're doing, you're causing me hurt. When in reality, it's the wounded part of me that is responding, because I have this wound, usually from when I was a child, that then was locked into place. It's like scar tissue. As you grow up, you have your wounds and you get scar tissue over them. It doesn't heal it. And they might be layered on top of each other. So my fear of being alone might be layered on top of being a failure or vice versa. And so if I think someone's going to leave me, then maybe I'll respond more strongly than belief that I'm a failure, but they might overlap. I think of my job to make my life happier is to work on healing my wounds. You can think of it as you're covered in buttons. Some of the buttons are big, some of them are small, some of them go straight to some really hot-wired, red-hot response. Some of them you have to push it and hold it down for a long time before something happens.
Or poke it several times.
Exactly, yeah. But if someone's pushing my buttons, those are my buttons. If I'm wounded, those are my wounds. And it's not up to other people. So my job is to dismantle those buttons. When you hit here, okay, that one I respond to really strongly. Why is that? And I can dismantle it. And I've had experiences where, before that set me off, and now you can hold it down and there's no response because it's healed, it's fixed. That thing that used to trigger me, it no longer triggers me.
Unwired and rewired.
Yeah. Now there's no response, or there's a positive response.
I like no response. After years of exploding in anger, when I drop something or spill something, I really like that first time I experienced no response, which would then become laughter.
Became a positive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching our video.
If you like the video, please subscribe.
Please like,
so much.